Hey there, boys and girls, friends and neighbors. It's yours truly, Big Daddy Firefly, or AKA the Reluctant Patriot. That's right, the Reluctant Patriot. Now, if you are a 25, 50 cent wordsmith like myself, you probably know the meaning of reluctant. Okay, reluctant can mean that you were drug into something, that you're brought into this against your will, that you really don't want to be this person. And when you pair that with patriot, well, the reluctant patriot, that doesn't sound very good. So what, you don't really want to be a patriot, Big Daddy Firefly? You're dragged into this? No, that's not necessarily true. That is one way to understand the meaning of reluctant. But the other way too is reluctant to speak out, reluctant to use my God-given right in this country to free speech, because in the last couple of years, free speech has completely gone away. The doxing and the violence and all the stuff that's going on. I mean, listen, I finally, at almost 50 years old, have the best job, the best paying job I've ever had. I work for a corporation, so I don't want to get doxed. I don't want to lose my job because of my views. I also have after a 10-year battle, my wife and I are bringing a child into the world. Yeah, I'm almost 48 years old, and I'm bringing a kid into the world, so I'm going to be the old dad of a 16-year-old girl. She's going to be 64 years old, and my old fat ass is going to come to the door with a shotgun and keep all my daughter's boyfriends at bay. But the point is I have a lot to lose. I've got a good job. I have, my wife and I are bringing a baby into the world. We're buying a new house. A lot of good things are going my way. I mean, it's a lot of pressure. I want to keep up, keep things going. But I am reluctant to just not say anything. My wife says, you know what, just focus on what we have going on right now. And that's good advice. But the problem is, if you look around at our world in the last couple of years, in the last 4 years, if you are like me and you love to read and you love movies, if you've ever heard of George Orwell's 1984, I've said in the past here on Parlay, I've parlayed out that I feel like Rumpelstiltskin fell asleep and woke up as a character in George Orwell's 1984. It really feels that way. I've never, ever come anywhere close to feeling like we're going to lose our freedom and lose our country. I mean, there's a thing called hyperbole, and I'm the king of hyperbole, which means, you exaggerate to get your point across. And I love to do that. That's my shtick. That's my whole thing. Okay? But it is not hyperbole to say that we are losing our freedoms every day with the COVID situation. I don't mean that COVID is not real, but it is real and very analogous to a bad flu. We don't shut down our economy for a bad flu. We don't even shut our economy down for tuberculosis, which kills 1.5 million people a year in and year out. Okay? We don't shut down our economy for those things, but they've used COVID as a way to control the masses, and it's working really, really well. And then on top of that, big tech has joined in and censored everybody else's views. So if you don't believe that Biden won, if you're not a progressive, if you're not pretty much a communist and a socialist, you don't get to speak. And that's why things like Parler, that you're listening to this on now, are around, because I was on Facebook for many, many years and Twitter, but those have become totally bullshit censored platforms, and they're not even trying to hide the fact that they're censoring things anymore. So here I be, Big Daddy Firefly, aka the Reluctant Patriot, here on Parler, and it's not just a conservative bastion. I've seen some lefties and some commies on here arguing, but that's okay. It's a bastion of free speech. There's even something I haven't seen in a lot of years, since the beginning of Twitter, is you've got women on there, talking about, hey, check out my bio, check out my nude pics. Well, whether you agree with that stuff or not, that is an open forum. That is a free exchange ideas and information, and that's the way it should be. But it's not anymore. And if you don't think that this is a problem, if you think that I'm being hyperbolic, then you've got your head up your ass. Okay, I still haven't gotten used to what they call it when you send out a sort of a tweet here on Parler. It's a parlay, which it's going to take me a while to get used to. But I parlayed out the other night, actually last night, in the middle of the night. I couldn't sleep. I keep thinking about what's going on. And I said, if just in the last 27 days, okay, there is so much smoke, and the old adage is where there's smoke, there's fire. And if you don't think there is so much smoke around the election in the last 27 days, so much so that everything is on fire, and you need the most badass face mask produced today to keep from choking, then you've got your head so far you're up your ass, it's not even funny. And anymore, even if you don't like Trump, even if you don't like the conservative views, if you are happy that Biden stole the election, won the election, whatever you want to say, if you're looking at all this stuff about Biden's family and around the election and the ballot stuffing, all the Dominion information, if you really are not looking at that saying, you know what, there's a lot of stuff going on about that. There's a lot of people that are talking about this. There has to be something to it. We should at least want some investigation into this. If you don't feel that way, you are either the dumbest motherfucker I've ever met in my entire life, or you are obfuscating the truth. You're sticking your head up your ass because you do not want to even possibly hear a piece of truth that is going to, basically that is going to knock you out of your progressive reverie. No, it's got to be Biden. It's got to be the progressives, AOC and the squad. They're going to save us all. And you know that's bullshit. And so you literally don't look anywhere else than the mainstream media. You believe everything that you hear. And if you really believe that, and you don't believe any of the contested information about the election, then you're part of the problem, because you absolutely don't want to live in a free society. Okay? And I know you're going, oh man, Big Daddy, you're being, what does my buddy called me? He's a fucking anti-Trumper. He always says, oh man, you're pulling out the boogeyman again. You and the boogeyman, you're pulling out the boogeyman, Big Daddy. No, just because I'm quote unquote eliciting the boogeyman doesn't mean the boogeyman's not real. That's my point. Just because I'm talking about the boogeyman and you're calling him the boogeyman and all the information about the stolen election the boogeyman, it doesn't make it not true. Okay, it's still true. Or at the very least, there is enough smoke to where somebody should do a real investigation. But here's the other problem. I keep hearing from everybody that, all the progressives and lefties that don't agree with me, that think I'm just an uneducated nut job, is they keep saying, if anybody with any kind of reputation or any legitimate source agreed with that, then I would agree with it, and I'd want to look into it. But here's the thing. I mean, the last 4 years, the mainstream media has shown themselves to be so in the tank for Biden and the progressives. There is no more legitimate media. So how can you say, well, if a legitimate media source mentions this, then I'll look into it. Yeah, but all of the so-called quote-unquote legitimate media sources that you listen to on a regular basis are all in the tank for this guy, and they're all singing the same tune. So if you keep hearing the same tune over and over and over again, if you literally hear the same tune on every station you listen to, even that's got to tell you, okay, that doesn't make any sense. Nobody's ever going to agree 100% of the time. So 100% of my news sources agree. So it's got to be true. Haven't you ever played the telephone game when you were a kid? Which is basically, you get 4 or 5 people in a circle, and you go, hey, and then you go, and it goes all around the circle. And what started out as car comes back as Oreo. That's my point, is nobody is going to agree on everything. Everybody has a different way of looking at it. So if all of your news sources are telling you the same thing, that right there should make your spidey sense start tickling, okay? Because the only way that all those people are going to agree is if it's in their best interest to agree. They're being paid to agree. If there's something in it for them, then they're going to agree. But if not, you're going to hear some dissenting voices. And you don't hear any dissension anymore at all. That should scare the shit out of you. Okay? It should scare the shit out of you. Whether or not you think Black Lives Matter, whether or not you think that minorities need, to get a better, a fairer shake in this country, whether you're LGBTQ, whether you're, pro-abortion, any of that stuff. Regardless of whether or not all those, the Biden and his cronies are saying, hey, we're going to take care of you. We're going to take care of you, pro-abortion people. We're going to take care of you, LGBTQ people. We're going to take care of you, minorities, black, brown, all that stuff. But that is the definition of a one-issue voter. And if you think, just because they say, hey, we're going to take care of you, words don't mean much. And now that they have you, they have your votes. If they get into power, they are not going to do what's in your best interest. Okay? If you don't believe that, if you think that I'm completely full of shit, hey, you know what? More power to you. I hope that the future does not look the way I believe the future is going to look. But any person with a brain, with anything in here, looks around and actually opens their eyes and takes a look and starts to look into something, starts to, chip away at the paint, is going to see that there is something rotten in Denmark. All right. Anyway, I'm going on almost 13 minutes now, so I'm going to get off, but until next time, this is Big Daddy of Firefly, or the Reluctant Patriot. Check out the channel. Send me some comments here. Let's get a dialogue going here, because as much as I'd love to hear myself talk, as you can tell, I love to debate and hear other voices as well. Okay? Talk at you later. Check me out here on Parler at the Reluctant Patriot. See ya.